Alright, in this problem it tells us to simplify sine t plus cotangent t times cosine t. Now anytime they ask you to do simplifying and doesn't give you a hint, try to use cosine and sine. What should you use, class? So let's go ahead and switch all of these to sine and cosine. So that problem, I have the sine of t, it's already in sine and cosine. How about the cotangent? Okay, but remember we want to use sine and cosine. Look at your formula sheet. What's the reason why?
Because cosine is x over y. Since cosine involves x over r, then sine involves y over r.
So that is the quotient identity. Okay, cotangent is equal to cosine over sine, and then you just have cosine here. So what I'm going to do here, the reason why I put an equal sign on the second line is to show that the first one is equivalent to the second one. I'm also going to make these all fractions. So let's write it a little bit cleaner now. I have sine of t over 1 plus, this is cosine times cosine is how much, class? Cosine squared t over sine of t. They call these rational expressions. Basically means you just need to add the fractions. In order to add the fractions, the denominator needs to be the same. This side has sine, this one does not, so this side I'm going to multiply by sine t over sine t. Remember, you can multiply by 1, it doesn't change the expression. So that's going to give me sine squared t plus, and this one's just going to be sine of t, and then this side doesn't change. Now that they have a common denominator, now I can combine the fraction sine squared t plus cosine squared t all over sine of t. So again, when the fractions are the same, now I can add the numerators. Look at your formula sheet. Tell them, what do you know about sine squared t plus cosine squared t? Cos that equals what? 1. Why is that? That's the quotient identity. So now I have 1 over sine of t. I generally like the problem when it tells you, sometimes it says use sine and cosine, this one doesn't tell you. So if it says use sine and cosine, then I like to just leave it within sine. You wouldn't be marked wrong if you had either 1 over sine t, or the reciprocal identity is what? Class, what's the reciprocal identity? Cosecant t. So either of these answers would be acceptable. So when you get a problem like this, it says simplify it, change all of them into sine and cosines, simplify as much as you can. If it tells you explicitly use simplifying sine and cosine, then leave your answer in terms of sine and cosine.